The house was in silent uproar. All day the servants had moved around only when necessary, keeping to the shadows, trembling at the very idea of encountering their mistress, fixing their gaze on the floor. Anger, rage, fear. Mostly fear. They spoke fleetingly in whispers until the end of the day when, knowing she was finally asleep, they could give vent to their feelings. Edward Steele-Fox, the head servant, sat in front of the kitchen fire, staring intently at nothing. His grief was still too raw to speak of his feelings. His wife, Emma, sitting herself down beside him, had no such qualms. "If I ever pray again, it will be that the old bitch dies a horrible death," she said. Edward shook his head. "Won't make no difference. Can't bring him back, can it? Nor her." She put her hand on his shoulder, felt his body trembling through the wool tunic. He moved forward to put another faggot of wood on the open fire. A voice spoke quietly behind him. "You should let the fire go out, now the mistress has gone to bed. You know she doesn't like the waste. And that's all we be, isn't that right, Mistress Pencarrow? Waste. Just waste." He jumped to his feet, kicked at the embers. My brother was waste, and his betrothed girl and their child. All just waste. The housekeeper, Julia Pencarrow, kept to her seat at the table at the back of the kitchen. "You know that I am as sorry as you be for what happened to your brother, Master Steele-Fox. And the news this morning concerning his girl and the child was indeed terrible." She paused for a moment as all the servants in the kitchen stopped what they were doing to listen to the exchange. "We all did what we could," Julia Pencarrow replied. "But they gave the verdict." "Nothing we said would have made no difference anyway," said a rough voice from the back of the kitchen, where the shadows hid the face of the speaker. "She wanted rid of Peter. Don't understand why, though." "Jealousy," said Edward Steele-Fox. "My brother was popular and liked by all." There was a murmur of assent, and whispers of "aye" and "a good lad." "You must not say these things out loud, Master Steele-Fox. You know how talk carries." Julia Pencarrow stood and moved towards him. Despite the compassion in her soft voice, he shrank from her outstretched hand. He glanced over at his wife, whose eyes were fixed on him. She flicked them at Julia and gave a tiny, abrupt shake of her head. He turned back to the fire and put his hands out to warm them. The gesture was lost on no one.